JSA 1046 at SEC. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertising in the Star Ledger, El Nuevo Coquí, Haiti Progress, and Luz Americana newspapers, and by distribution to the administrative offices of Newark Public Schools. A copy of this meeting notice was also forwarded to City Hall for posting. This is a regular advisory board meeting for Tuesday night, December 20th, 2011.
Let us please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Baskerville-Richardson. Ms. Davis-Spate. Mr. Jeffries.
Here.
Mr. Kenny.
Here.
Mr. Lamore.
Here.
Mr. Lewis.
Here.
Ms. Pinto-Marin.
Here.
Mr. Rivera. Ms. White. Quorum is present.
Thank you. First, I'd like to say thank you to Principal Gregory for allowing us to have our meeting here tonight. We greatly appreciate it. And it's my understanding, Principal Gregory, you have a few greetings, and also we'll get to hear some of your students perform tonight.
Greetings, Superintendent Anderson, advisory board members, and executive staff. I am so delighted to have everyone here. We are embracing our one-year anniversary of moving to 74 Montgomery Street. Last year, we relocated from 200 Warren Street. We're now in a larger building. We have a lot more opportunities for our young people as a result. And Friday, I got some of the best news that a school leader can get. We reached our student achievement benchmark in the HESPA. 100% of our students Can I finish? If I can finish, thank you. 100% of our students are proficient or advanced proficient in the area of language arts literacy. 96.5% are proficient or advanced proficient in the area of mathematics. What's beautiful about this story is when they entered our schools as ninth graders, only 45% were proficient in both areas. Because of our focus on scheduling, something that Mr. Leone, former assistant superintendent of SLT2, had all of his school leaders focusing on, because we had an intense focus on how to schedule our students, we are seeing the results. So again, I'm extremely proud as a principal. I'd like to welcome all of you to this school. It's a pleasure coming here on a daily basis, working with young people, awakening the genius that lies within them. Let us stay united. Let's make sure we embrace the new standards embedded in the Common Core and ensure that all of our students, upon graduating, are college and career ready. Thank you. Excuse me. At this time, I would like to introduce a member of our PTSA. Ms. Wright is here to bring greetings on behalf of our Parent Teacher Student Association. Ms. Wright.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to American History High. We have this beautiful building here with children who are excelling and doing their utmost best to make it happen here in Newark, New Jersey. Welcome. Enjoy our building, enjoy our chorus, and enjoy the meeting. Thank you.
4 years ago, I benefited from meeting a young lady who possessed 2 certifications, one certification in the area of history, another certification in the area of music. Our school lacked a music program. She came with very limited resources and support and created an incredible vocal music program here to bring some holiday cheers and original composition with her choir members. What's beautiful about what you are about to witness is you have students ranging from beginning chorus to advanced chorus. Many of these students are scheduled in the same classroom. She is a master of differentiated instruction, and today we are going to see some harmonious sounds that will get us in the mood. Miss Caress Dorsley and the American History High School Choir.
No need for wasting time writing down lists. I'll let you know what you'll get for this Christmas. Lots of broke hopes and lot of crushed wishes. You gotta keep working, 'cause I am a witness to all of the hurting from all of the mischief. If anything, you just gotta keep living, keep bowing your head. Thank God for forgiveness, and you will realize what you have for this Christmas. All of your family, all of your friends, a moment at a time you can't get back again. So cherish the moment, let love in your heart. A Christmas in Newark, it can't be that hard, 'cause some kids will die, some kids will starve. Open your eyes and just thank God.
Before we move on tonight, Principal Gregory, congratulations to you, your school, your staff, and your students, because it's just not one person that runs an organization in a high school. It's also its leader and everyone else that works together. So congratulations to you, to the parents of American history, and to your students for working so hard. Next, board members, if we can please move on to the approval of minutes. We have 3 to approve tonight: the November 15th Advisory Board Business Meeting, October 25th Regular Board Meeting, and October 18th Advisory Board Business Meeting.
Move it.
Can I have a motion to take it as a whole?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Lewis. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Kenny.
Mr. Kim. Okay, this is a motion to take all 3 minutes as a whole. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Motion carries.
Motion for the approval of minutes.
Move it.
First by Mr. Lewis. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Kenny.
Okay, motion to approve all 3 sets of minutes, moved by Mr. Lewis, second by Mr. Kenny. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Motion carries.
Thank you. Next, if we can turn over to Ms. Baskerville-Richardson for the parent recognition for tonight.
Each day throughout the district, there are parents who make a huge difference in our schools by volunteering and supporting their children's academic successes. The Newark Public Schools Advisory Board Family and Community Relations Committee wishes to recognize these parents who are making a difference in the lives of our students. This parent recognition program, which began in 2004, will continue to shine the spotlight on those who support the district's 6-point family engagement model, which consists of parenting, communicating, volunteering, learning at home, decision-making, and community involvement. We are pleased to recognize one parent from each region. The parents were nominated by their school's principals. And tonight's Parent Recognition Award recipients are East Central Region, Danica Claiborne, Samuel Berliner School. North Region, Evelyn Concepcion, Dr. E. Alma Flagg School. South Region, Marie Frederick, Belmont Runyon School. Yes, please come up to the front. And West Region, Rachel Vaughn, University High School. Congratulations. I'm sorry. Angela Mason, University High School. No, it's not. It's not. Okay.
Thank you, parents, for all the hard work. Thank you very much. If we can move on to the student recognition part. Superintendent Anderson.
So I too would like to add my chorus of congratulations and thank you to the staff here at American History High School and the families and the students. Huge accomplishment. So we're really pleased to be here, and what a fitting place to be after that great news. Even in a school like this, there are students who go above and beyond, and I am always privileged to get to honor our student scholars. These students have been commended for epitomizing the characteristics of American History High School: courage, conscientiousness, and commitment, the commitment needed to help advance a democratic society. Our first honoree tonight is Medina Odrago. I hope I did that justice, Odrago. She's a sophomore. Did I get it right? Is that pretty good? She's a sophomore with a 3.9 GPA. She's enrolled in all honors courses. She placed first in the local essay contest competition and delivered her speech at the 175th anniversary of incorporating the city of Newark. She's a member of the Gilder Lehman Historical Book Club. She's a policy debater and a pioneer member of American History High School's Leading Ladies After School Club. Please join me in congratulating Medina.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to come out here tonight. I'd like to thank all American History High's teachers and staff and the school itself and the principal, Robert Gregory, for opening their arms and welcoming me to a high school and giving me a place in a permanent high school to stay in. Thank you.
Thank you. Joining her tonight will be Tyshawn Hayden, a senior with a 3.5 GPA, also enrolled in honors and AP classes, one of the top high school wide receivers and defensive backs in the state of New Jersey, a scholar athlete. A member of the Malcolm X Shabazz High School varsity football team, who is being recruited by multiple Division I colleges, and is also a member of the American History High School Chorus, and has composed original music for several venues. Definitely an underachiever, just kidding. Triple threat, we congratulate you, sir. Good enough.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank everybody for being here, showing some support, and I thank everybody that American History staff to give me the opportunity to be an athletic scholar, and for people at Malcolm X Shabazz for letting me be athletic and letting me do what I love to do, which is playing football. Just thank you.
Next, we move on to the report of the State District Superintendent, Ms. Anderson.
Good evening, everyone. Once again, very pleased to be here. Before I start, I thought I would share a little holiday spirit, but I'm very sad to know that Mr. Outing is not here because I had to do him justice with my flashing necklace. You'll have to tell him if you see him next time. But I promise not to keep it going during my presentation lest it distract everyone, but I did want to wish everyone a happy holiday and to let you know that I do have a flashing necklace on in honor of our holidays spirit here tonight. So I'm going to jump right into, this is interesting.
go down? He was asking if you want to go.
This is fascinating, it's right on my face. I'll go down.
Whoever wants to go down can go. I'm personally going to go down because since it's in my face.
You have hard copies if you want to follow along. But sorry guys. That's not gonna work. All right. That's better. I couldn't really see very well. So I'm going to be joined this evening in the presentation for a few parts by some other members of the cabinet. But tonight I'm going to report back on a few things that people asked for additional information on at the last meeting, as well as some questions that board members raised. So we can go to the first slide. As always, we're looking at kind of the 5 pieces of great expectations and the focus of the district: leadership, teacher quality, operational excellence, family and community engagement, and innovation. And keep going. Folks had asked for a little more information about how we're resolving issues at the school-based level, given that we've made a shift in our structure where the regions are primarily supporting schools on operations, and assistant superintendents at the district level are providing the coaching and support to principals, not always in a geographic fashion. So I wanted to sort of remind people, we've shared this before, but I thought it was important to bring it back to the fore. We are undergoing a pretty wide search for those individuals who will directly manage and coach and evaluate principals. It is my belief that all wonderful things that need to happen at the school level happen because we have great leadership, and those leaders deserve great managers. So we have several individuals at the district office serving as interim superintendents: Mr. Leone, Mr. Keith Barton, Mr. Brad Haggerty, and myself. And we have each taken on a certain number of principals according to need and type of school. The regional offices and the instructional and supervisory support and coaching are focused on instruction. They're focused on maximizing resources. They're focused on looking at school culture, teacher quality, hiring, and looking at student achievement data. So that's the work that the interim assistant superintendents are taking on. Again, Mr. Haggerty, Mr. Barton, Mr. Leone, and myself. In addition, the principals are supported by the regions still, and the regions are able to focus in a more laser-like fashion on operations. And by that, I mean things like human resources, facilities issues, enrollment, and also being responsive to families. So principals are supported by the regions, and they're supported by an interim assistant superintendent that's providing coaching and support on instruction. We can go to the next slide. At each regional office, there is a point person for human resources, facilities, budget and finance, special education, and student, family, and community relations. So every regional office has a person that has been assigned there and is responsible for that region's work on these areas. So from a family and community standpoint, if there are particular concerns, you still can, and we encourage folks to go directly to the regional offices, in part because they know the schools in their geographic area and are able to help problem solve, hear families' concerns, and help to resolve them. You can go to the next slide. Do not be scared by this chart and all of its colors. All this is saying is that regardless of where and how a concern is raised, or a commendation, we like commendations too, there is an escalation path so that if it does not get resolved, there are people whose role it is to actually respond and make sure that, that we are being responsive and that the loop is closed. And on a weekly basis, we have begun what we call a constituent tracking process. And that basically is just a way to look and see all the letters and calls and walk-ins that we've received where people have raised concerns that they want addressed. And my team, and I am present, look through all of those things and make sure that we've made adequate progress to resolving them. Sometimes it's easy to resolve and sometimes it's hard. But we do meet on a weekly basis to look at those issues that have been raised. because it is our belief that we need to get better and better at responding to families and community members who bring things to our attention. Grad Tracker, we talked quite a bit about the Grad Tracker the last meeting, and people asked additional questions. The Graduation Tracker is something that was started and highly recommended by lots of community groups, including, but not limited to, the Secondary Parent Council, a group of principals, several family advocates. We have had seen different versions of this, and all it is a way of telling families, here's what your kid needs to do by the end of 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade to stay on track. So we standardized the process, created a pretty robust form, and every single 11th grader received their report in their progress report this last November. So this November, all 11th graders took home an actual report that let families know whether they were on pathway to graduate and if they had things they needed to do, what they needed to do. If there were any warning signs, things that students were off track, then there was a process by which high schools followed up and counselors followed up with those students. In phase 1, we distributed I'm sorry, I said 11th grade, I should have said 12th. In phase 1, we distributed them to all of the seniors on November 16th. And in phase 2, by February 8th, we will do the same thing for our 10th, 11th, and we're actually going to try to do it for our 9th graders as well, because we will have a semester of data. This is very important because for young people who are trying to track very complicated grad requirements and families, it's very important that people walk away with a piece of paper that helps them understand, here's the requirements that you have met, and here's the requirements that you still need to accomplish. So we're excited about this work. It's been a lot of work. We're also excited that it's going to be mirroring the data in PowerSchool so that when we're able to access the parent portal, families will be able to see this. Eventually, they'll be able to see it online because, I don't know about you, but I have lots of siblings and cousins who would like to tell you that they're passing such and such class when they may not be. So we need a way to make sure that students and families can see very clearly where students are progressing to graduate and where they're not, and we need to do it at every step of the way, not simply when they become seniors. So we're excited about this endeavor, and it's been a lot of work. This is hard to read, but just for the families in the audience or any supporters, community advocates, this is the form you should be looking for. So if you have a student that you are concerned about, you can ask them to see their grad tracker, and this is what it looks like. And if they tell you they don't have it and they're a 12th grader, then you can contact us because I assure you they have it. If they are a 9th, 10th, or 11th grader, they will have it by mid-February. My hope is that we all become very excited and very obsessed with these grad trackers because the more we all ask about them and the more we support our young people, the more likely they are to progress and graduate. So this is what it looks like. I have some additional information about the American College Testing, the ACT, which we also talked about last meeting. I've had an opportunity to talk with and meet with several high school guidance counselors, a number of high school teachers, and most importantly, our cadre of high school principals, magnet and non-magnet. We are moving to the ACT for a host of reasons. The first is that we believe it is a great service to our students to have a test that many colleges and universities are accepted all over the country, that's free of charge, and that serves as a benchmark for all of us that high school isn't just about getting a diploma, but it's about a passport to a greater future if you're able to get into college. And that is our charge. That is a charge that people like Principal Gregory and others are taking very seriously. Being able to give the ACT gives us that benchmark. The test is based on rigorous high school level work. The other thing that's nice about it is there's an 8th grade version, a 9th grade version, a 10th grade version, and an 11th grade version, so we can see if a student is growing. And it's important for all of us to be accountable for student growth. In high school, that's really hard because you usually only have one test, and it comes 4 years after the kid starts, or 3, and by then it may actually be too late to understand that they're not progressing. The other thing is that the reports and information provided by the ACT, and you can look, some are posted on our website, they also have a great website, are incredibly user-friendly. They are very useful for families and for students, and they provide a really clear roadmap for where students need to make up skill gaps. So instead of simply saying, you're just not going to get there, the ACT lays out very clearly the skills that are necessary for college and lets the student, the teachers, and the families know a clear pathway about how they're going to get there. The ACT, as a district, there are several districts and states that have adopted the ACT, and so we are able to become an official ACT testing site as opposed to having to send our students elsewhere. There are only specific dates that we can choose in order to be an official ACT site. So you see here the different grade levels and the dates that have been selected for the ACT. The 8th grade ACT is the one that is forthcoming. And we're doing it in January because we've also been in discussions with the magnet school principals to utilize the ACT as one of many other measures for magnet school enrollment, as opposed to students having to take 4 or 5 different assessments and one that's not aligned to the other things that we're going to be working on. The test will be at no cost to families. The test will expose students to the kind of material they were required to master in college. It's also important to know that the ACT was designed with over 10 years of research on the skills that turn out to matter for students to graduate from college. And we will provide appropriate accommodations for students with disabilities in the event that they have an IEP. There will also be support mechanisms put in place, and once we get the results back from the 8th grade ACT and we're able to analyze them with our principals, it will really help us to develop individualized plans with our 8th grade students. And it will also be very valuable to our K-8 principals to see how they're doing in getting our students college ready. The educator evaluation pilot. So we talked also about this last month, and I want to share some more information. We believe that there's nothing more critical than making sure that every single student in Newark has a terrific teacher. I saw a recent study out of Texas that says a student that's in a good teacher's classroom 3 years in a row is on pathway to gain 50 percentile points more than a student who's in a mediocre teacher's classroom 3 years in a row. It's a longitudinal study. So the way in which we work with teachers, how we coach them, how we help them grow is so critical to the work of students achieving. And I'm sure every student in here can tell you when they were in a great teacher's classroom, they actually progressed. So it is our role and my belief that NPS and all of the supporters of NPS that we need to focus on this in a laser-like fashion to ensure that we get great folks, we keep great folks, and that we create an environment where they can learn and grow. I have been to about 8 teacher forums, about 5 brown bag lunches. I've talked directly to about 350 teachers, and I've asked them things like, I get regular feedback on my teaching. The feedback that I get is helpful. When I get feedback, it helps me grow. The feedback I get is related to student achievement. And somewhere between 60 and 80% of our teachers disagree with those statements. My belief is, if we can reverse that and we can make those into agreements, then we will have a major impact on student achievement. So for me, changing the way in which we evaluate and coach teachers is critical to our students achieving. So why is it important? Teacher quality is the single most important lever to increase student achievement. We have to have a high-quality teacher in every classroom. We have to have a system where teachers are treated as professionals. Teaching is hard. And when there's a direct link between how we coach and evaluate teachers, how much they grow, and how much students learn. So our current system is inadequate. I shared with you some of the data that I have gotten anonymously during my travels. And we want to engage educators in a system to get input, to try things out in a low-stakes environment. It is also our belief that the more people who weigh in and actually give input onto the process, the more likely we are to create something that helps teachers grow and students learn. With the principals, we have developed what we think are the 5 criteria that must be true for evaluations to be effective. They must be tailored. That means it's not one size fits all. They must be evidence-based. Nobody wants to get feedback that's based on someone's gut feeling or impression. People want feedback that's based in evidence of how students are learning and what kind of work they're doing. that they're aligned to a framework. It is simply not fair to sit down with a teacher and give them feedback on something random every time you sit down with them. Consistent feedback that comes from one observation is often not very successful. And heard needs to be shared in a way that's constructive and holds individuals accountable, but also supports them. So these are the goals that we're hoping to accomplish in our evaluation pilot. I'll give you some examples of what that will look like. We are talking about regular conferences and customized development opportunities to fit individual needs of teachers. We're talking about looking at our observation rubrics, the tools we use, and making them sharper. We're looking at our framework to see if we actually think it is a good measure of teacher input, and we're looking forward to getting feedback from our teachers about this. We're looking for more frequent classroom observations, informal and formal feedback, and we're doing a lot of work with our principals on how effectively they're delivering feedback. One example, at our last training, we talked about principals asking teachers to volunteer to have them videotape giving feedback, not for the purposes of evaluating the teacher, but for the purposes of looking at their own practice and giving feedback. We've also done role plays. Everyone knows I have a theater background. I'm a fan of the role plays. But these are the types of things that make principals and their staff more skilled at delivering feedback on teaching, which I believe is the biggest driver of student achievement that we have. There are 3 objectives for the pilot. We're going to look at teacher practice, student achievement, and systems learning. In terms of teacher practice, we have a framework currently called the Danielson Framework, which is fine, but there's a lot of work that's been done on Danielson all over the country that we can actually bring here, and we can also look at other frameworks that teachers might think are a more accurate capturing of their teaching practice. And we want to ensure that those tools are used more effectively through looking at videotapes, doing some online webinars, and capturing accurate rubrics about how teachers proceed. Student achievement, we have to look at gains and growth, and we have to think about assessments in the non-tested subjects like art and singing. And there are some really great things out there that are more performance-based that provide a chance for folks to express their critical thinking that are not necessarily standardized tests. And systems learning, we need to go and take an honest look at what we're doing well and what we're not doing well. We're about to do a survey of all of our teachers to get their feedback on all of this and to have a benchmark about where we are so we know when we improve how we're getting there. This slide just talks about the rollout. The first year, we're going to be working on observations and piloting new tools and talking about student outcomes and the tools that we have and the tools we don't have. Next year, we'll be improving our observation and pilot system, and we'll also be looking at student outcome measures. And the third year, we'll be looking to do full district-wide implementation. And we believe with this timeline, it will allow us to devise something that's best in class, most importantly, that teachers find valuable, and that is linked to student learning in a way that people find meaningful. The board asked for an update on vacancies. We have 1 vice principal and 4 department chairs and 68 teachers. I'd like to point out this is the lowest that we've ever had at this point in the year, while it is still unacceptable and something that we are working on. Each of these roles have been filled by a fully licensed teacher, so I don't want anyone to think that means we have 68 classrooms that are empty, but they are actual vacancies in that the school has not selected a long-term placement. Everyone knows that per my policy this year, principals are fully empowered to select their team. I believe that we need principals such as Mr. Gregory and others who obsess with results and pick the people that they want on their team. So some of these vacancies are because principals, I believe, are holding out for the folks they think are going to be the best fit. And we have also been supporting our principals through things like hiring fairs and other support. At this point, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Ms. Wilson to update us on food services.
Good evening, Chair Pintor and Superintendent Anderson. This evening I'm going to speak to you about food services and the two divergent needs that we have to meet. The Food Services Department is faced with the challenge of fulfilling students' nutritional needs while carefully managing a tight budget. If we go all the way back to 2008, this has been an ongoing conversation with the board and the superintendent, and we have been working in the food services area based on the budget cuts we've received over the last 3 years to reduce the deficit. This year, I'm happy to tell you that our deficit is we closed last year's books at the lowest point it has been in the last 16 years. To that end, we still face the challenge of meeting our students' nutritional needs. So we've taken several actions. We've begun to provide free breakfast for every student without regard for financial need. We offer a breakfast in the classroom program that increases our breakfast participation. We offer an online lunch application that speeds up the processing of our free and reduced price lunch applications. We actually have 93% of our lunch applications processed this year at this point in time. We work directly with families, school staff, and community volunteers to help families complete the lunch application. We were able to work with a group from Rutgers, the Coalition for Effective Newark Public Schools, and use over some 40 volunteers in schools to assist with the lunch application. We've launched the online meal pay system, which makes it easier for families to pay for lunch and reduces the chances of students losing their money. And we've collaborated with individual schools to handle special need cases of individual students. In order to carefully manage our tight budgets and ensure dollars, which was about a $3.5 million loss last year, and make sure those dollars are not diverted from more appropriate instructional uses, we've taken several actions. We've worked directly with students, schools, and families to increase the number of free and reduced lunch applications. It's important to note that the lunch application is the key to quite a bit of state and federal funding. It's worth about $5,000 between Title I, all of the federal programs. It affects our E-rate capability. It's even used in determining when they looked at ARA. We've launched the online meal pay system, which reduces the cost of providing meal service and reduces the risk of theft. We've made efforts to communicate with families and collect funds for lunches served to students who don't pay, but also who do not qualify for free lunch. Parents have been receiving bills on a quarterly basis for the last year and a half. We phased out free meals for students in grades 6 through 12 that do not qualify for free lunch, and that was effective in the 2010-2011 school year. That's been a gradual phase out over the last 2 years. When Superintendent Janey was with us, it was determined that we would go through a 3-year process to phase out giving free meals to students. This year we have held in place what we were doing in the 2010-2011 year. There was some confusion with the communications that went out, and there was some concern that children were not having access to meals. That has been resolved in writing, and any changes in our meal policy will come in writing from my office, and they will be clearly stated. So to that end, students are receiving meals. We've made no changes since 2010-11. It's a policy that provides meals to every K through 5 student, whether they have money or not. Students in 6 through 12 do not receive a free meal if they do not qualify for free lunch. Families are billed for students who take a free meal but do not qualify for lunch. And the NPS Food Service Management team is working directly with schools to handle special cases for individual students. Let me state that the number of students who currently do not have a lunch application on file is approximately 7%, or 3,000 students out of a total enrollment of some 38,000 students. We will continue to work aggressively to ensure that we're at 100% on our lunch applications and to ensure that all students eat. I should also advise the community that while this policy is in effect for the 11-12 school year, it is under review by the superintendent, and there may be changes to the policy in future years. Thank you.
Okay, continuing on, we shared last month about our new internal safety committee and our increased collaboration with Newark's Police Department. In particular, the safe corridors piece is something we're keeping sharp focus on. We're aware that there are particular schools, that there have been activities outside of the school, directly outside of the school, after school, and we have been working with our team and with Newark PD to make sure there's additional coverage there, and that we do things like stagger students leaving and provide additional support for those schools during those times. Next slide. We wanted everyone to know that it's important that we have updated contact information. Every family is going to receive a printout of the records we have in PowerSchool, and we're looking forward to getting responses back to make sure that we have correct and updated contact information in our system. And finally, we talked about magnet school enrollment. The magnet schools, we've been meeting with the magnet school principals and with some other guidance counselors to get feedback on a new process that will achieve 3 goals. It'll be more efficient. It will be more transparent and fair, so that because each school will be doing the same thing, and it'll be more accessible to the students in Newark. And the way we're going about this is through a common application that will allow for school-specific questions to be answered, like whether someone is interested in science or art. We'll be using the ACT, as I shared previously, and a centrally managed unifying process so that all of the applications come in at once, and that we're able to make matches at once so that we don't have schools that are either overcrowded or under-enrolled, and so that families are not trying to figure out whether they're going to receive a letter on this day or that day. The proposed process you can see here, and on page 19 you'll see some of the deadlines. We are working in January to host information sessions with guidance counselors from K-8, with families. We've placed a frequently asked questions and all of these materials on our website. We will be talking further with the School Advisory Board and others once we receive the data back from the ACT Explorer about how that data will be used alongside some of the other data. But you see the way it works is you essentially take the academic piece, just like when you're applying for residency, and all the other pieces like the interview or the audition, and all of those things are considered. This timeline is basically on par with where we were last year. It just allows us to do it more efficiently and to do it in a way that hopefully will open up our doors to more students. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Superintendent Anderson. Now we move on to the voting portion of tonight. First, we have under academic services, resolution for approval of in-state and out-of-state student trips. Can I have a motion to accept? Can I have a motion to approve the in and out-of-state student trips?
Superintendent, I had two questions about the presentation. One of the questions I wanted to ask is, can we have a reason why this late in the school year, so close to January, we have 73 vacancies in the class, 73 vacancies, period, 68 of them that occurs in our classrooms, and what plan have the administration put forth to make sure that these children are being educated? We have major tests coming up, and how is the children learning? Especially, I'm very concerned about 24 vacancies in special education. Do that mean that we're not in compliance in special education since we have 24 vacancies?
No, so as I stated last week in this deck and verbally just now, this is actually the lowest number of vacancies that we've had at all, period, at this point in the year. It is the case that hard-to-staff areas are hard to staff for a reason. All of those positions are filled by someone who is licensed, and the only reason why they appear as vacancies is because the principal has not selected a permanent position for that person, because in a lot of instances, they're still searching for someone that they want to put in that permanent post. Students are learning, they're licensed teachers in those roles. That's the lowest number we've had, and there's a 4-point action plan in your deck that we're working every day and every week.
Okay, as far with the ACT, when I was out in community talking about the ACT testing, one of the major concerns is once this testing, the results of the testing is come out, will it be just shared with our schools, or will it be shared also with the charter schools in the community? Because what people are afraid of is that the high performing students will be shifted off to the charter schools, and then the middle performing children will go to the magnet schools, and then we end up with, what's ever left over from that.
That's actually a different question than how the data will be shared, but the way in which the ACT data will be shared primarily with schools and with families, so that they can see where their students are and how we can all work together to move their students up. I will also say that my hope is that the charter schools and the parochial schools, and I've talked to several of the leaders, will also choose to give the ACT so that we can have one standard and to make sure that all of our kids are on path to college readiness. I don't see how the ACT data is going to change the way in which enrollment is currently working, but I do think it's important for all of us to have really clear information on whether our students are on the path to college readiness or not. And if they're not, then the purpose of the data is to work with families and schools to make sure we have a plan to close the gap.
Mr. Jeffries?
I actually want to commend the superintendent for the thoroughness of this presentation and the breadth of it and the depth of it. And I think the evaluation pilot is really a particularly important initiative that is important for people in the community to keep track of, particularly to the extent it can be useful as a tool to help educators, to help them figure out ways they can better serve our kids, to help them figure out ways to better improve their practice. So I really think, the focus, as the superintendent laid out, is really as a tool to support our educators, to provide them the ongoing professional development that they need. And also want to commend the superintendent on ACT piece, and that leads to my question. To what extent can we incorporate the ACT college readiness data into the grad tracker? Because it's one thing, as we know, we have many kids who pass the HESPA, obtain a diploma, go to college, aren't ready for college. And we know many of our graduates, unfortunately, need remediation when they get to college. So it seems to me the earlier we can identify that there's a gap between where our kids are in college readiness, hence the 8th grade usage of the ACT, that's a wonderful thing. So I'm just curious, to what extent can we fold that evidence into the grad tracker, particularly at the 8th, 9th grade level, to intervene earlier for kids?
We definitely should. The grad tracker will be completed this year before we have the baseline data, except in the case, well, maybe for 9th graders, but the timing this year, we think it's important for folks to get the grad tracker out with regard to credits and courses and other things that in order to graduate anywhere, including New Jersey, it's part seat time, it's part coursework, and it's part the assessment. So we want to make sure that we get the data out about that it is absolutely our intention to include the ACT data in the grad tracker next year. We just won't have the data in time because we want families to have the grad tracker in February, and we won't have the ACT data until later in the year. But we should, because there is a college-ready standard on the ACT, and you can actually see what it is at each grade level, and you can see progression, you can see growth. So I think it would behoove our families and our schools to share that information, as you point out, because the more we're able to keep that laser-like focus, the more likely we are to help students grow. I should also say there's good data about it is possible, it is absolutely possible to have students gain at least 2 full points a year. There are schools all over the country that have achieved those kinds of gains, which means that it's a very hopeful message that you can make up a ton of time at the high school level if you're focused. And I think that's some of the promise of the new curriculum, the new Common Core, the higher standards that Principal Gregory spoke of. And so I feel this ACT data will help us keep that focus.
Last question I had was just about the food services. Ms. Wilson or Ms. Sanders, could you just flesh out the hardship case provisions that we have? I mean, I know we've spoken some about to the extent we have kids who are consistently showing up at school and unable to eat either because they're not eligible for a free reduced lunch and they don't have the money on their card, or any other reason. I know we talked about some mechanisms that could be used at the school to have a parent liaison or someone at the school reach out to the family to see what's going on, to the extent a family is consistently sending a child to school who's unable to eat, if there's some issues at the home that can be addressed. But would you mind for the community just kind of fleshing out some of the provisions we have to work with families in individual circumstances if there's extraordinary reasons as to why they can't provide for that child?
Well, Mr. Jeffries, you've mentioned some of them. As you've indicated, we will be using our parent liaisons to further engage the family. And as I shared with you, in some districts around the country, this is being treated as a DIFAS issue. The board has not made that decision, and that might be a conversation we have at some future date. At this point in time, principals have the ability to contact the Director of Food and Nutrition Services directly where they feel that a child is in jeopardy or has a significant need, and together we will work to ensure that, one, the district meets its federal obligation and does not put its program in jeopardy, but that the child is in fact serviced. So the word is, and I see several principals in the audience today, there would be a contact made from the principal at the school designating that child and a conversation with the food services director, and at that point we'll put into play the initiatives that we have.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll move on to the voting portion. Under academic services, we have one resolution, the approval of in-state and out-of-state student trips. Can I have a motion? First by Mr. Jeffries. Second by Mr. Kenny.
Okay, this is a motion for the academic services resolution for the trips, moved by Mr. Jeffries, second Mr. Kenny. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Motion carries.
Okay, next we have finance items. We have items number 1 through 23. Can I have a motion to accept this as a package?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Lewis.
Ms. Wilson, can you just explain P1 to me?
It's under, yeah. Okay.
The renewal of the contract for full service.
I'm sorry, Mr. Lewis, what question do you have? You have a question on P1, which is
P1, item 12.
Operation and Management and Food Service Program.
Yeah.
That is a corrected resolution. It does not change the vendor. It does not change the resolution. There was some miswording in the resolution, and the resolution has to be part of the district's application packet to the Department of Agriculture. So we have to ensure that, I think a number was transposed in the original resolution. It does not change the value of the contract, nor the vendor with whom the contract is let,
It was just
or
an
the terms.
It was just an incorrect
Same
number.
amount. They
Yes,
didn't
sir.
No additional schools or nothing.
No,
No.
that is correct.
Okay. Also, I wanted to point out to board members that the NJQSAC Statement of Assurance is part of the finance items. It's actually item number 9.
Can I
Yes, Ms. Wilson, and if we can address
In
that one
response
item.
to last week's conversation, there were 2 items that were raised. Let me indicate to the board that the statement of assurance has been modified, and under the area of governance, you'll have 100%. And with regards to the documentation that Mr. Jeffries questioned, the previous scores, the score is exactly 89% for that area, and even the state had made the mistake. So thanks for the catch.
Any further questions? So just wanted to make it clear that that one item under governance, which were the contract issues, we did get the full point, if anyone had any questions with that. If we don't, if we can move on and take these, Mr. Lewis.
P12, that's just the renewal of the contract, same amount, no additional increase in the cost?
For P12, you mean item number 23? Service and maintenance of fire alarm systems?
Yes. No increase in the amount that we're spending, it's just a renewal of the same contract, am I right?
It says renewal. Give me a minute and let me find it. No, he's talking about the fire alarms. No, he's talking about the fire alarms. P12. Number 12 is food services. He's talking about P12. Does anybody have a copy of P12? Thank you.
P12.
It would not be an increase in price because it is in fact a renewal. So it's a renewal of the contract with actually 3 firms, depending on the items that they have bid on, and it is for a term of 1 year, which is from August 2011, through August 2012. It would not be an increase in funding because it's a renewal.
Okay.
So you understand that it was originally bid, it had its initial year, this is the first renewal year, and possibly they could have another 2 one-year renewals based on contracting law.
Okay, I remember the vendor from last year. I
Yes.
just wanted to make sure there wasn't no increase in the award.
That's why we bid it, so that over the multiple years, you are able to lock in the price.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, if I can have a motion to accept finance items number 1 through 23, if anyone does not oppose, if we can take that as a package. Can I have a motion? First by Mr. Jeffries, second by Mr. Lewis.
Motion to take finance items 1 through 23 as a package, moved by Mr. Jeffries, second by Mr. Lewis. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Motion carries.
Okay. Can I have a motion now to actually vote on the items? Items number 1 through 23 in finance. First by Mr. Lewis. Second by Mr. Jeffries.
Motion by Mr. Lewis, second by Mr. Jeffries to vote on all finance items. I'm going to do roll call. Ms. Basco Richardson?
Yes.
Mr. Jeffries?
Yes.
Mr. Kenny?
Yes.
Mr. Wilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Ms. Pinto Moran?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next, we go down to the legal items.
Madam Chair, we are going to table legal item, all the policies, we're going to hold off on 5143, the second item. We're just going to table that item
Okay.
for further review between the superintendent and Director of Health Services.
Okay, so board members, that means that we have just the 6 items.
So it would be a motion to vote as a package on the transportation policy and 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5 health policies. As a package.
Okay, can I have a motion to accept those as a package, excluding the 5143? Mr. Jeffries, and second by Ms. Baskerville Richardson.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Jeffries, second by Baskerville Richardson to take these items as a package. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And vote on it.
Now to vote on the items. Can I have a motion to vote on the items?
Move it.
First by Mr. Lewis, second by Mr. Kenny.
This is a motion to vote on all legal policies with the exception of the second one, married pregnant pupils. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. That concludes our voting portion for tonight. We move on to public participation.
This is the public participation portion of the meeting. As a reminder, time limits for all speakers will be adhered to. There will be no sharing or granting of speaking time to others. Speakers must be present when their name is called. All speakers will be required to give their names and addresses. Public participation of the meeting will be limited to 1 hour and 30 minutes. Examples of unacceptable behavior that will not be permitted include but are not limited to engaging in personal attacks, naming district employees, slurs, excessive loudness, calling out, yelling, or generally disruptive behavior, attempts to disrupt the meeting, or inciting others to do so. As a reminder, public participation at board meetings is intended to allow individual members of the public the opportunity to address the board and the administration on issues of public concern, not as a forum for two-way dialogue with board members. Issues raised by the public will be noted. Issues will then be investigated, and the affected individuals will be advised in accordance with board procedures. The superintendent or advisory chair may interrupt any speaker or terminate any speaker's speaking privilege if the comments are disruptive or obscene. As a reminder, an individual may be cautioned that a personally directed statement may be slanderous or defaming, and that individual may be liable for his or her statements. Any individual or group that does not follow these procedures may be asked to leave the building, and if necessary, the meeting may be adjourned.
Thank you. Our first speaker for tonight is Dorian Murray Thomas. Okay. Next speaker, Tawana Baker. Next speaker, Cormira Newton. Next speaker, Aisha Rivera. Next speaker, Yanni Sneed.
Hello, my name is Yanni Sneed. I am a graduate of Newark Tech High School. Currently, I'm a sophomore at Rutgers Newark and a veteran member of ALI Youth Meeting Symposium. I stand before you today because I am in complete support of YMS College Readiness for All campaign, and I believe that advisory boards should be too. The reason our Newark schools have different success rates is because we treat students differently. Everyone knows that if you go to a school like Newark Tech or Science High, you get the best resources Newark has to offer. But because you go to Shabazz or Weekway, you get the minimum resources. And honestly, none of us are truly getting the kind of college preparation that that the students in the wealthier neighborhoods are getting. Brown versus Boyd ruled that separate would never be equal. In 2011, our education is still separate, and our college readiness is in this district and across the state is unequal. YMS College Readiness for All campaign calls for district-wide policy that gives us all an equal chance at success. If we do not prepare students for college early from the ninth grade, how can we expect them to take high school seriously and for that matter, college seriously? It is time for change. We need dramatic change that will make all schools excellent in Newark and not just some. Please support the 5-point college readiness plan, textbooks for all, college tours for all, a wide variety of electives for all, SAT prep for all, and college readiness for all. In other words, equal opportunity for all. YMS will appreciate our campaign being implemented throughout the district. Thank you. And I have a question for whom it may concern. It's about Resolution 1 that y'all were referring to about the student trips. I just want to know, does this make college trips possible by all Newark students?
Thank you, Ms. Sneed. Next speaker, Caleb Thomas. We'll answer it at the end. Next speaker, Mr. Caleb Thomas. Next speaker, Brianna Hall.
Excuse me, Ms. Hall, she's currently in the restroom right now. Will we be able to move on to the next speaker, please?
Yes, we'll call her
Thank you.
back then. Next speaker, Alexis Bell. Order.
Good evening. My name is Alexis Bell, and I am an advocate of the ALI Youth Meeting Symposium. I am here tonight to speak on two important points within the YMS College Readiness Campaign and why it's important not only to me, but also all Newark students. Our first point is textbooks for all. We chose this point because we want all of our students to have textbooks in good condition. Each classroom should have a set of books so no child has to share textbooks, and students should have a right to take books home. It is YMS understanding that Behringer High School, as well as West Side and East Side high schools are just a few of the Newark high schools that have made it clear that they need more books for students. Our second point is electives for all. In our school, we should be able to have electives in different areas like music, fashion, economics, and law. While students attending Ramsey High School has over 20 electives, many of our high schools have less than 10 electives. YMS would greatly appreciate a letter of support from the advisory board in support of our campaign.
Thank you. Next speaker, Montoya Arsby.
Good evening. My name is Monteya Osby. I am a junior at Earls High School. Today, I would like to inform the board about the college readiness plan that the Youth Meeting Symposium has created. This plan is important for all schools in Newark, New Jersey because it gives all high schools in Newark an equal opportunity to get preparation to go to college. We Youth Meeting Symposium ask you to support this plan. I also like to thank the Superintendent, Mrs. Anderson, for setting up a meeting with us. I can inform you we will be prepared to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Next speaker, Malik McNeil.
tonight to speak on the importance of the YMS College Readiness Campaign and why it's important not only to me, but also all the Newark students. Many of us are unprepared for college because we are prepared at the last minute. Most Newark students are forced to take SAT prep off-site from where transportation becomes an issue. Most of our schools don't provide interesting electives for us to learn how can we transfer to college, to a college major or minor when we are not being given interesting classes to take. I feel that the Newark Public School District should provide us with interesting electives and allow all Newark Public School students to receive SAT prep at their high school rather than being directed to a local college or a Newark library. I thank the NPS Advisory Board for giving me this opportunity to speak, and YMS will be greatly appreciative of a letter of support from the Advisory Board. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McNeil. Next speaker, Jamil Hawthorne.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jamil Hawthorne, and I am an advocate of the ALI Youth Media Symposium. I'm here tonight to speak on the necessity of a district-wide college readiness policy for all Newark students. YMS is campaigning for more effective college readiness throughout all Newark public schools. Textbooks for all, electives and college-level courses for all, real SAT prep, and college tours are a must-have, and we demand that we have it. We don't want to vary from school to school. We want a plan in motion that the district is behind and is offered throughout all of our Newark high schools, at our high schools. I thank the NPS Advisory Board for giving me the opportunity to speak, and YMS will appreciate the district implementing our campaign.
Thank you. Next speaker, Mr. Ramon Melendez.
Good evening. My name is Ramon Melendez. I'm an advocate of the ALI Youth Media Symposium. I'm here today to speak about two important points with the YMS College Readiness Campaign and why it is important not to only, but also all Newark students. Our third point is college readiness. College readiness should start from the 9th grade up to the 12th. College readiness will prepare us for college. Many of us struggle to finish college because we and our parents are unfamiliar with the college process. For this reason, it is important that we have college readiness preparation courses to educate us on our college process. Our fourth point is SAT prep. Every high school provides SAT prep their junior year. SAT prep should begin our 9th grade year, so we will be prepared for the test and get high scores. Newark SAT scores are very low because we are being prepared at the last minute. In addition, our schools do not provide SAT prep within our school grounds. Oftentimes, we have to go off-site for preparation rather than having it in our high school level. I thank the advisory board meeting, and I think you should support our college readiness campaign because we're not looking for inequality, we're looking for equality for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Melendez. Is Brianna Hall back?
Hello, my name is Brianna Hall. Good evening.
Good evening.
Everybody. I'm an advocate for ALI's Youth Medium Symposium. So today, I would like to inform you that YMS will appreciate your support for our college readiness campaign. I am also here to let you know why our district-wide college readiness campaign is so significant for all Newark students to have. Now, I go to Malcolm X Shabazz. I'm a junior, and I take pride in my school. It's good to be a bulldog, and my principal, yes. And it's good to be there. And my principal now, he cares about us and he wants us to be better. But we don't have college readiness like that. And we need more help with that. Sad part about it is NPS district isn't providing him with everything that he needs to assure that everybody is ready for college. Now, Newark students want a district-wide college readiness policy that ensures that we have equal numbers of quality books, real SAT prep, opportunities to go to college tours, and academics. Many of my peers, we never been to a college tour. They have college tours, but this just for like the seniors, because the seniors are going to college next year. But we all have to go to college. Everyone should have that chance to go see a college and be like, oh, I want to go there, or that college hot, and all that. It's not fair. So, and as a junior, I never been to like a college tour. My teacher, my own math teacher, had to be like, Brianna, I heard that they doing a college tour, so I think you should go, because she want me to be there. But not all students have that from teachers. Not all students have teachers that care about them so much that they will inform them about that. I thank y'all for listening to giving me the opportunity to speak, and YMS greatly appreciate a letter of support from the advisory board in support of our campaign. Thank you.
Thank you.